This next video comes to us from Sashko, who is a very, very talented and great content creator. Usually does history of ABC kind of perks, you know, perks, maps, characters. Does one of those history channels a la Sire Cozy. I was like, I was gonna say like Cozy, and I'm like, why am I mixing Choi and Sire Cozy together? I was like, why is my brain trying to do that? But yeah, they do a lot of history of kind of stuff, but this video is more of a critique. This video is talking about DBD's visual updates are a complete disaster, which is something I'm inclined to agree with. I think that while generally the maps look better, I think they've lost a ton of their personality. I think New Coldwind looks really, really gross compared to, New Coldwind looks really, really gross compared to Old Coldwind, which was a lot more atmospheric and cool. I think a lot of the maps have lost their personality because they're trying to be as objectively good as possible that they don't look cool anymore. They don't look like eerie. They don't look atmospheric. They're just video game maps. And I kind of miss the style of the old maps. I wish they were just graphically improved and they kept their general feel, but they don't. Old Haddonfield's so pretty, yeah, because it's moody, right? You got the eerie blue lighting. You got the very, very bright police lights happening in the background. Like it's a cool vibe. It's just like they completely ruined the visual style of well, they gave up on the visual style of the game. Essentially, they gave up on having a visual style in the game that was very aggressive and cool to have objectively good-looking maps. And I feel like it's sad to watch the game kind of lose its personality. Before I get too carried away, Sashko is a great content creator, so you should click that link that just showed up in the Twitch chat. If you're in the YouTube watching this in the future, it will be down in the description below. So you should click that to support the official release of the video, because if you do not, we are freeloading, which is very bad and rude. So do not do that, and please support the official release of the video. Please, or else I hate you. You stink. They have a visual style. It's called dead and boring. Yo, true. True and real. True and factual.
The Realm Beyond update was a disaster, at least in my opinion. Let me explain. Completely reworking the game's visuals that players were so used to for the past 4 years, during a time when there were still many other problems in the game, wasn't really something that the player base was necessarily longing for. Not to mention that this update also included the addition of new survivor animations.
Like just look at this. Just look at the game. Look at the old meatpacking player, right?
Also included the addition.
So Nia's going into this room, right? There is a dim light right here that is lighting up the room, and it's casting very, very harsh shadows where, like, hey, like, you know, I'm thinking, like, if I haven't seen the killer yet, these harsh shadows could have Pig or Ghostface, like, over here in one of these, right? Because while it's very, very bright over here in front of the palette, back here, it's like, it's starting to get almost pitch black behind some of this stuff. So, like, the lighting is cool and moody. You know, it's a little bit nicer. Now look over here on the right. Now it's just like, it's just, all of it is just drab gray. What is the cool thing that the lighting is doing on the right here? Nothing. There is no lighting. It's just the general gray. That's it. So even though, like, the textures of the boxes and stuff look better, it's like, which one has more personality? Which one looks like it's trying? The left one does, not the right one.
Of new survivor animations, which most people are fine with today, but back then this was considered one of the most controversial changes in DBD's entire history. A video game's aesthetic is certainly a very important part of it. User Baby Shrimp put it really well. It helps set the tone and atmosphere, which obviously helps with the immersion. Horror games are no exception. I mean, find me one person who likes horror but doesn't like the vibe Silent Hill gives off.
Yeah,
in fact, would Silent Hill 2 hit the
Silent Hill, son.
Its lonely, creepy, liminal atmosphere? I don't think so. Dead by Daylight clearly started as a horror game. The Macmillan estate had its characteristic blue tint. Coldwind Farm was
like literally, like, old blue Macmillan feels like I'm in the middle of the night, and like the only light we have is lit by the moon. Now it's just, once again, like the meatpacking plate, it's just this drab gray. That's the best we can do. We can do a drab gray and that's it. Like, where did the personality go?
Blue tint, Coldwind Farm was a nighttime orange, and Auto Haven Wreckers had the foggy green, which fortunately is still in the game to this day. Every single realm that was released shortly after that followed the same few principles. Crotaspren Asylum felt rundown and creepy.
The Asylum maps used to be so pretty because it was this muddy, dirty brown, like, everywhere, but then they would have, like, super high contrast areas like the chapel, which was, like, very bright and colorful. And it was like, it was really cool Father Campbell's Chapel used to be my favorite map in the game because it was so neat to just go out into this muddy, dirty, like wasteland and then come into the chapel and suddenly it's like very brightly lit. The stained glass is very colorful. I was like, oh, this is cool. Now the asylum is just this dinky little like misty yellow. It's gross. It's so gross. So gross.
Haddonfield was dark and eerie, Blackwater Swamp foggy, and so on. But ever since the Realm Beyond update, every map has been going further and further away from these initial design
I'm so glad they agree with me on
principles.
this.
For example, it's clearly daytime on the current Eyrie of Crows, Coldwind Farm, Ormond, and Garden of Joy. Let me repeat, it's literally daylight in
Dead by Daylight. All
a
that's what
game
doing.
called Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
Not only that, but a lot of people seem to agree that the older maps had a much better atmosphere and especially lighting. I personally think that behavior could have just updated the actual textures without
exactly.
completely
Look
changing.
at old Ormond compared to new Ormond. Look at how moody and creepy this building looks. This looks like I don't want to go in here. Like let's put this in the real life, right? Like you just walk over here, you're like, I'm gonna go on a ski resort, and you walk up, and you're like, oh, is this where we're supposed to go? I feel like I'm gonna get murdered in here. I'm gonna get mugged and killed. Now,
the time of day and feel of the map.
Besides it looking kind of run down, does that look threatening to you? Like literally at all? Like literally at all? Does that look even slightly threatening to you? Like not even remotely. Like this is just like like it's just a simple lighting change. And a lot more fog. It's like just like some lighting changes and some fog. That's all that's different here. But it changes so much. Than just having it, it's in the middle of the day, everything's fine. You know, it's just
works anymore. Higher resolution textures mean that you need a more expensive device to play the game because of frame drops. And the reworked maps feature so little grass that it's literally a nerf to Trapper. At least with the first few Realm Beyond patches, they added a few breakable walls here and there, removed a few problematic windows, and addressed the overall balance of these maps. But what were they even thinking when they made the last rework? Not only did they
ran out of time.
Ignore them,
they ran out of time. They have admitted themselves that they ran out of time making the Mother's Dwelling, or just the whole Red Forest realm, and that's why it's terrible. That's why.
One complaint that players had for years, that being that the Red Forest maps, especially Mother's Dwelling, were far too big. But they also made the two maps even worse to play on as both Survivor and Killer, since they added too much.
Red Forest was the one map that I was kind of like, I felt like Red Forest gained a personality with the recent updates, because Red Forest used to just kind of look like Macmillan, except, well, it's raining and there's trees everywhere. That was the one map I used to look at, and I used to be like, this feels just like this is like Macmillan plus. It's slightly less blue, and there's just like trees everywhere, and now there's rain. This was the map I felt like actually gained a personality. But obviously everything else about it is absolutely terrible.
Unnecessary clutter that just completely ruins the experience. Not to mention that, even though the realm is supposed to represent the area surrounding Chernobyl, a city in Europe, they for some reason made the map look like it's taking place somewhere in Asia? For me,
that's a good point. I didn't think about that. You're right. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. That doesn't really fit, does it? I didn't even think about that.
This last rework completely changed my opinion of the entire realm. I went from going, oh yeah, Red Forest, let's go, when they got a game on the map, to literally, oh shit, I want to DC. And don't even get me started on the recent Shelter Woods update. Like, what the f even is this?
They just
This was absolutely nothing like Dead by Daylight.
She just
and
shoved
for
her
me at least,
base in
it's
there.
not really nostalgia that's making me think, oh, the original maps were so much better. I didn't even start playing.
Like, look at it. So, like, perfect example. Look what I was talking about with Asylum earlier. This is what makes Asylum old Asylum.
Think, oh, the original
like a beautiful map.
So much better.
Look at how much, because everything is this dirty, muddy, green or brown. Look at how much that barrel stands out. It's like a beacon, right? It's like, this is so aesthetically pleasing because everything is just gross and grimy. So like when there's a little bit of light, it really pops. Like it really draws your eye, which is why these maps were aesthetically cool. Is because like it made the things that were bright really, really stand out.
I didn't even start playing DBD until late 2021, and I still prefer the way that the old, for example, Macmillan and Coldwind looked. At this point, I think that behavior is doing these reworks and making more high quality graphics just to attract new players, which is literally a big fat middle finger in the face of DBD's original player base, who are literally the people that got the game to where it can still, to this day, maintain a significant amount of new players every single month. As Killer Whale said in one of his videos, if we take a look at other horror games, we can clearly see that they don't just dilute their brand to appeal to people outside of their niche for no reason. And that's why these games are so well respected. In my opinion, games don't always need so-called high-quality photorealistic graphics, except games like Sons of the Forest where that's literally the whole point. Instead, video games need a unique art style. This is exactly why the visuals of games like Overwatch,
it's part
or
of the
even
force is
Life
to
is
immerse
Strange
you.
for that matter, still stand the test of time almost 10 years later. It's because their art style is unique, it's timeless. Even when Mojang decided to add new block textures to Minecraft, that still caused a massive controversy in the community. But at least, they gave players the option to continue playing with the old textures by introducing the so-called Programmer's Art Resource Pack. At the beginning, Fortnite clearly had one of the most unique art styles out of any game out there, but now they've completely butchered the original vision by making the visuals less cartoony and more realistic. Now, I know I'm going a little off topic here, but I'm just trying to prove a point. After 3 years, when the current DBD visuals become outdated, what are the devs gonna do? Are they going to go through the entire effort of changing every single map yet again? See what I mean? By creating something that's unique and that stands out, there isn't going to be any need to update that certain thing, because it is going to stand the test of time, it's going to be timeless. Yes, I know that DBD has clearly shifted away from its original horror vision and that's how it's going to be. But man, am I seriously going to miss the old art style when Backorder Swamp gets reworked sometime in the future. Because that realm currently is the only OG one that has yet to be reworked as part of the Realm Beyond update. I guess for now the thing we can do is to appreciate the old maps in their atmosphere. I purposefully avoided talking about character design in this video since I don't really feel like it's necessary, just because a lot of people have already made
Motion is horror. I agree. It's like it's executed poorly, but it's not a bad idea. Like the idea of like a super rich headhunter, like somebody who kills for fun and is so rich and spoiled that she kind of just can and avoid the consequences. Is like, that's not a bad idea. It's just executed poorly. Like it inherently is not a bad idea. Like her being a fancy schmancy pretty lady who just likes killing people, and because she's so rich you can't stop her. It's not a bad concept. It's just that it was executed terribly. That's all.
Or stuff like the Skull Merchant not fitting in the game, etc. Anyways, let me know what you think about this down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then consider liking it and subscribing. But yeah,
I'm really happy that I'm really happy I'm not the only one that feels this way. I feel like a man shouting, old man shouting at the sky sometimes, where I'm like, wow, old Cold actually used to look really cool, now it just looks terrible. Or as Noodle likes to say, it calls it the map. Or looking at Father Campbell's Chapel used to be one of my favorite maps in the game to go to, and just going, this looks terrible. This looks absolutely god awful. This does not look good. And just being upset about it, So I don't know. I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels that way and just misses I know a lot of people I miss Blue Macmillan, but I don't feel like people extend that to literally all of the map remakes. Almost all of the map remakes look terrible. Terrible. They lose their personality entirely, and it's made me upset for years. So I'm glad that I'm not the only one that feels that way. Old Haddonfield, while it's really great and more faithful to the actual movie than the old Haddonfield was, I wish it still kept the color grading that it used to have. I wish it still kept its atmosphere. So it's just I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. I feel once the oh wow, this graphically looks better, the textures are better feeling wears off, you realize it's wait, aesthetically this other thing was way cooler. Can we have that back? And they're nope. Screw you. So, I don't know. Whatever. Kind of once again, like I mentioned a second ago, it's an old man shouting at sky at this point, because they're not going to change it. They're not going to listen to that. So, it's essentially us just being mad about nothing, and it's never going to get changed. But, it feels good that that sentiment is shared, at least, I suppose. I'm not just upset by myself.